Hi, my name's Xtine. I've challenged myself to post a new cooking video every day for 30 days. Today is day 5 and we're going to be making a vegetarian spin on Jamaican beef patties. And we have a special guest in the kitchen with us today. A round of applause for professional animator, amateur chef, Mark Phillips.
Hello, I'm Mark Phillips, professional animator, amateur chef.
No, you don't have to crouch down.
I'd also like to disclaim that I've never made these before, following a recipe which I'm sure will be linked in some capacity here or elsewhere on the internet. I guess let's get started.
What are we doing first, Mark?
First, we're going to be making the dough for the beef patty. The dough should be like a pie crust. It's like the same thing basically with spices and such in it. Flaky, delicious. We have our mixing bowl here. And we have 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. In the bigger bowl it goes. Could have just put it in the bigger bowl to begin with. Next we have a little sugar and a little salt. Next we have turmeric, as well as the recipe called for a Jamaican curry powder, but we'll be using a Indian powder that we got from a local street fair, not too far from here. And in it goes. Give it a little spank. Now we'll whisk our dry ingredients together.
The aroma is intoxicating already.
Yes, and it's not just the flour we smell, it's the turmeric and the curry powder as well. All right, next for our pastry dough, we'll be adding the butter, which we've frozen in the freezer. This is a bit controversial with Xtine, as she normally likes to cube it, then freeze it, but this recipe called for grating it into the dough. So far it's looking like delicious cheese. Sweating with cold butter in my hands. That's our neighbor saying hello upstairs. They dropped their baby.
It's looking great so far.
Thank you. Stick number 2 about to go in. I'm sure if you want to make this recipe vegan, this is the only portion of the recipe that calls for dairy. You could just use vegan butter instead.
That's a hot tip.
It's a hot tip for you vegans out there. I'm sure you didn't know this, but there is vegan butter. Here's a hot take. I'm a meat eater and I like vegan meat, so.
Whoa!
I'm just gonna cut the rest of this up. All right, next, I'm gonna massage the butter, or we're gonna pinch the butter and the dry ingredients together, much like you would with a pie crust. See Xtine's other video here. Click the corner to see how she makes such great pie crust. It's starting to look a little cornmealy, a little crumbly. Wow, look at that, it's looking nice. I think we're about ready to add the ice water. We're gonna add some water, form it into a dough. Look at that thick, cold water. Nope, a little ice in there. I'm sure that'll go away.
That's happened to me before, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Oh my God, dangerous.
You want to use ice water because you don't want your butter to warm up too much while you're forming the dough. You want your butter to stay as cold as possible, and working it with your hands will make the butter warm and melty, which can make forming the dough a real mess.
What do you mean? All right, let's see.
Ooh!
Yeah, it's looking nice. Dough. All right, now we're gonna take this ball of dough, we're gonna wrap it, and we're gonna put it in the fridge to set for at least 30 minutes.
Okay, now it's time for Mark to cut up all the vegetables.
We have before us a beautiful tray, cutting board of vegetables. These are gonna make the beef taste great. We got green onion, fresh garden thyme, which smells like thyme. Some garlic, habanero peppers, ginger, and an onion. First, we're gonna chop up this onion. Oh, I gotta peel them first. Oh God, When you like stabbing, but you don't like peeling. Am I right, fellas? We need that little like trash can that they have on Top Chef that you just have like, you know, right next to you.
I mean, we could put a trash can next to you.
If only we... They call this the pumpkin method.
Do they?
No.
Try not to cry. Ugh.
We're all onions sometimes.
I've never had a Jamaican beef patty before because I've been a vegetarian since I was 14, and I've only been to Jamaica once when I was 30.
You do the math.
Start by fondling your habanero peppers in an unsettling way.
We're gonna de-seed them. Wearing gloves for this part so I don't burn my hands and everything else on my body that I touch with my hands from here on out. The recipe called for Scotch bonnet, but habanero still at least has a little bit of that tropical spicy flavor that we all love. We're just gonna mince these up.
While I wait, I'm getting hungry, so I'm snacking on a delicious peach scone with a pumpkin spice glaze. That's what I made yesterday. Check it out.
All right, it's time to cook the beef. I don't know why I said cook the beef. Be adding 2 tablespoons of olive oil to this skillet, and we're gonna wait until that oil starts to shimmer. Meantime, I will open the Impossible plant-based ground beef. Better get out of there, ground beef. There it is. What we're gonna do is just cook this beef enough so that it starts to brown, and then we'll add some more ingredients. Hint, it's onions. All right, looks about time. I'm gonna add this shitload of onions, 1 diced yellow onion, and we're gonna let this cook down 3 to 4 minutes. Starts getting a little tender. Next, we'll be adding half a cup of broth. This is actually a cup, but just in case we need to moisten it up later, have a little in reserve. We're just gonna add this in. Give a little stir and then let this incorporate for about a minute. You're gonna want this mixture wet, but not liquidy.
Moist, but not sopping wet.
It's been about a minute since we added our broth. It's still a little bubbly in some areas, as you see. We're gonna add a half cup of regular breadcrumbs. And make sure that it gets stirred around and is absorbed into the mix. Next, we'll be adding 3 tablespoons of cubed butter. And we're just gonna let that melt in, and once it's melted, we're gonna turn off the heat. That's looking like it's ready to introduce to the pastry.
Mark is currently adding salt and pepper off camera.
All right, now that we've chilled our dough for over 30 minutes by this point, I've divided the dough into 7 5-ounce balls, much like this.
Oh.
And what we're gonna do with these balls is we're gonna roll them out to approximately 6 to 7 inches in diameter. Well, that's a terrible circle. That's why I brought this along.
Ooh.
Just kind of even things out. We'll call that a job done. All right, let's get our filling and start filling them up. About 4 tablespoons of filling to the pate. The pate. Yo. This is my first one ever, so hopefully they get better from here.
That's a fat patty.
Yeah, it's a fatty. And then we're gonna transfer it over here to the parchment paper.
Did we preheat the oven?
We did. We preheated the oven to 350.
It's me again. We're gonna put these in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. What? Okay, they just came out of the oven and this is how they look. I asked if we should just pick them up and eat them with our hands and Mark said
We could try.
it was a risk.
It's a risk, but we could try.
Oh, delicious.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I think it's pretty delicious. The dough is really good.
I'm down with that.
I'm into it. All right, bye.